Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Nick and welcome to another speed build. So for this video, I'm sharing this base game house in the world of Newcrest, which is actually one of the base game worlds. Now, if you only have the base game and you open your game, you will notice that you have three worlds available: Willow Creek, Oasis Springs, and Newcrest. Now, Willow Creek and Oasis Springs are two worlds that are fully built. They have households living there, there is lore about the households, and there are community lots, so there's a lot of things to do. But Newcrest is actually the only empty world we have in the game, and I think this is because when the game launched, it only had two worlds, Willow Creek and Oasis Springs, and then the players wanted another world. So the Sims team added Newcrest, but it's empty. It doesn't have anything. You don't have any households, there's no houses or community lots here, so it's pretty boring. But on the other hand, it's like a white canvas for you to paint on it however you like. So because this is also part of a base game save file that I want to do and release at some point, I thought that it would be a good idea to start with Newcrest because it's empty and there's nothing to do there. And then move on to the rest of the worlds and kind of try and fix them and such. So here, the first build that I have for this world is this base game family home. Actually, it's for 4 Sims. Initially, it was supposed to be a starter home, and I was about to base it off of one of my first builds here on the channel. So as I was building, it kind of came together on its own. I'm not really sure because I had like my previous build as a reference, but you know, the end result is nothing like that. But I really like how this one turned out. I used the whole lot for this build, so the backyard that we have is pretty small, but the rest of the build is pretty spacious for a base game house. So this house, if I remember, has 2 bathrooms and 2 bedrooms. So we have the master bedroom for the parents, and then we have a shared bedroom for the children. So for this one, I was imagining that maybe the parents moved here with their older son, but a few years later, they had another baby. So the son is actually pretty grown up. He is a child, not a teen yet, but he is a child, so he goes to school. And now they have a new addition to the family, the younger sibling, which is an infant baby. And even though the brother loves his younger sibling, it is kind of a mess in the house because the baby is very young, so it cries a lot at night, and the baby wakes up the older brother every single night. And I can totally relate to that because my brother was like that and it was very bad. But you know, even though the older brother might feel a bit anxious and stressed with a new baby, I think that he really loves his brother and he wants to take care of him, but you know, he doesn't really know how to do that yet. So I thought that was a pretty fun storyline there, especially for like base game houses, because if you don't have a lot of expansion packs, there are some systems missing that make storytelling a bit more difficult, in my opinion. I'm not a gameplay person, so I cannot really have a full opinion on this, but I feel that the more expansions they have, the better your storytelling will be, or at least you might be able to express your storylines a bit more easily. But I really like how this one turned out, actually. Usually I go for a more colorful exterior, not so much I don't really go for neutral colors when it comes to exteriors, but this one I really like. I used this base game creamy / beige paneling, but it actually it looks sort of whitish because I have some other beige accent colors that kind of takes away from it. But I really like how this one turned out, actually. I'm very proud of it. And even though base game builds are not my favorite because I don't have all my decorations, I don't have all my packs, it is a nice reset button whenever you feel tired building with a lot of your packs, Because let's be honest, we have so many packs in the Sims 4, and building with all of them can be very intimidating and very tiring, more often than not, actually. So it was a nice breath of fresh air to kind of try to use only the base game for this one. Now, there's not a lot of things to do here, unfortunately, because we only have the base game, but I tried to make it look as decorated as possible and as lived in as possible as well. But you know, the floor plan came together pretty easily. Initially, it had only one bathroom, but then as I was decorating the master bedroom, I added another ensuite bathroom to make things a bit more easy, because I feel that when the child grows up to be a teenager and then the baby becomes a child, a lot more Sims will need to use the bathroom to get ready. So I think that having 2 bathrooms for 4 Sims is actually pretty convenient. But I don't know. Usually, how many bathrooms do you include in your builds? Sometimes I just get carried away and I forget about the convenience of things. And, you know, I might have a big house of like 4 bedrooms and there's only 1 bathroom. And that's definitely not convenient at all. Not in The Sims, not in real life either. But I don't know. How do you go about your builds? I'd like to know. But here, as you can see, for the interior, I used this darker wood flooring and this minty greenish sort of wallpaper for the walls, and I like this contrast. And I also enjoy the fact that the exterior is a bit more neutral, but the interior is more colorful. Even though I might prefer my exteriors to be colorful, I for sure want my interiors to be colorful for sure. Like, I don't enjoy browns for the interior as main colors. But yeah, as you can see here, the living room is actually pretty spacious. We have a lot of seating for a lot of Sims. I also placed a console sort of game for the children to play when they grow up a bit, or maybe the parents can play with the older sibling. And I also added an art easel in the hallway between the living room and the kitchen. I'm not really sure which of the parents would be the artist of the family, or maybe the son would be the artist. I'm not really sure. You can be the judge of that. But actually, before I forget, because I'm a very forgetful person, as I mentioned, this is supposed to be a part of a base game save file, and because I'm not very good with coming up with storylines or creating Sims, I would like to ask you if you would be interested in creating households for this save file. So, for example, you could create whatever kind of household you'd like, whether it is a single Sim or a full family, and give them a little of a storyline. Then you can upload it on the gallery under a hashtag. Let's figure it out. What kind of hashtag should we have for the base game? Should we go with like Cozy Nico Save, or maybe Nico Base Game Save, something like that? Nico Base Save? I'm not really sure. I will think about it and I will have it in the description below. So you can use that hashtag whenever you upload your Sims to the gallery, and I can take a look at them and maybe give them a small makeover, or just add them to the save file and build their house. And I think that would be pretty fun, and it will be a nice little collaborative project. I think actually that would be a very nice idea for the Sims team to do as well, because Newcrest has been empty for many years. And I know that initially the players were happy and pleased with having an extra world, but I feel that as the years have gone by, a lot more players would like to see the Newcrest world be kind of filled up. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the Sims team should hire some builders and some other Simmers to create households and houses and community lots for Newcrest. And what they could do is have polls, like online polls for the general player base to kind of vote on which households they'd like to see. For example, if they hired a bunch of people to create households, they could upload the households online and show the players what are the options, and maybe the players could vote on them, and the final decision would be implemented into the game. I think that would be pretty fun, and it would be a nice way to engage the community as well. Because The Sims 4 is going through a rough patch lately with the EA buyout and all these kind of things. There's also a rumor that maybe the game is coming to an end soon. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not, because there's a lot of things that we still don't have in the game. For example, we don't have cars, or we don't have bands. And, more music stuff is something that I would really like to see in this game, or some different sort of entertainment, but as careers. And I really want to see a bit more, a few more live careers, or active careers, or I think they're called. Like, for example, I remember that in The Sims 3, which is actually the game that I grew up with, you could be a stylist, you could be a hairdresser, and that was very fun. I remember being a house stylist always. Like, whenever I would play, I would always be a stylist for some reason. I don't know why. But we still miss a lot of things in the game, and I think that it's a pity if the game comes to an end so soonish. It's been like more than 10 years that The Sims 3 is out and going, and having new content released for it. I know it's kind of tiring having so much content released so soon, because we have the new expansion pack coming out in like a week, and then we have 2 kits releasing with the expansion pack, and that's kind of bizarre. Kits, I really like kits, but sometimes they get a bit too tiring, and sometimes they're not that interesting. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what you believe. What do you think about kits? But I think that we could do with a bit more stuff packs or game packs, and a few less kits. But I don't know. But yeah, I hope that The Sims 4 is not coming to an end anytime soon, or if it is, I do hope that the newest installment is gonna look as good as The Sims 4 in terms of graphics. In terms of gameplay, I'm not really sure what to expect. Rumor has it that maybe the Sims 5 or Sims 4.0 is a bit of more dumbed down version of The Sims 4, which is kind of disheartening. I would like to see a few more consequences in the game. Like, I feel that whenever you play and you make a decision, your decision doesn't really have consequences. Like, there might be a negative effect or a negative outcome, but you can easily turn things around, and that's something that I don't like. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, to be honest. But I can't remember what I was trying to say. Anyway, so moving on to the bathroom. It's pretty small. I think that both bathrooms are actually the same size. I only filmed one of them because the other one I forgot to decorate while I was recording. And then I went in game to take some screenshots and upload to the gallery, and I noticed that the one of the bathrooms is completely empty. So I went in and decorated it with a few, I think the same furniture as this bathroom, but I'm not really sure. But here for the parents' bedroom, which is actually the main bedroom, I really like the bedding of this bed. Actually, the beige color kind of contrasts the blue of the wallpaper pretty nicely, and I enjoy the carpet that I use. The carpet texture on the floor, it does give off this older kind of vibe, and I was trying to keep in mind that this house needs to look a bit more old, not necessarily run down or rustic, but it's not modern or completely renovated. But we have also an office space in the main bedroom with a computer, because it's very helpful to have one here. And moving on, we have the children's bedroom. So for in terms of the storyline, what I was thinking is that this family moved here when they had their first son. So he really enjoyed having a big room for himself and not having to share it. And then his brother came along and now he has to share the bedroom. And as I mentioned, that baby is crying all the time because that's what babies do. And he has to wake up at night and then he might not get enough sleep and he has to go to school. So, it's a whole thing. It kind of pisses off the older brother, but he is really happy to have a sibling and not be alone anymore. Not that it's a bad thing not to have a sibling, but I feel because I have two brothers, I feel that if I didn't have my brothers, I would feel very, very bored when I'm at home. So I think that he's very excited for his little brother that has just arrived. But it's a difficult situation, for everybody. There is some adjustment that needs to be made. But here we have, but here for this one, I added this checkered, I think, yellow checkered wallpaper that looks kind of oldish again. I think that it's one of the wallpapers that they decided to use when the first child was a bit more young. So now as he grows up, he might grow out of it a bit, but they still need to keep the room a bit, childish or maybe childlike because they have a very young child living here. So, but I added a lot of things. I added two blurfies, actually. I really love blurfies, and the light blue one, I think, came with one of the events, if I'm not mistaken. And there we have the crib of the baby. And I also made a makeshift changing table or change table. I'm not really sure what they're called. But this is actually an idea that I got from Simmery Sims. I've seen her do that a couple of times and I think that's very fun. The only thing is that we got the infants update, but we didn't get a change table. Why is that? And the one that actually matches the base game stuff comes with the Growing Together expansion pack, which doesn't make sense. So I don't know what's up with that, but they should have added it in the base game because, come on, should we really pay to be able to change our baby's diapers? I don't think so. But here we are sort of coming to an end for the speed build. I will be decorating the entrance of the house. I added a coat rack, some shoes over there, a dresser, and I think I added a board with some notes because I thought that it would be fun for the parents to kind of have some rules posted on the board and kind of have the schedule of the family so everybody knows what chores to do. So that's pretty fun. And then I finally decorated the backyard, which only has a grill and a 4-seater table. And that's pretty much it. So that's gonna be it for the speed build. So let me give you a little tour of the house. So this is the house. We have some Sims walking around. We have 2 bicycles here, which you can use. I think they came with one of the events, but I think that you should have access to them. If not, they will just not be there, so you shouldn't have any problems with it. As you enter the house, we have this little entryway with the little backpack and the coat rack and the shoe rack, and this is the board that I was talking about. Of course, it has some random stickers and pieces of paper here, but I thought that maybe they post like the chores schedule and the rules of the household, so that was pretty fun. Here we have the living room, and as you can see, my tester sim is already watching TV, as all Sims do. And I really like how this one turned out, and the wood tone is actually pretty nice. I really like that. We have a bookshelf for your Sims to read some books, and also a toy box for your child to grab some toys and play in the living room as well. Here in the hallway between the living room and the kitchen, we have this art easel for one of the parents to paint. Off of the living room, we have this small bathroom. It's a full bathroom, but we have a shower here, a sink, and a toilet. Moving on, we have this kitchen, which is decently sized. You have only this counter free of clutter to cook on. But you know, if you have the cottage living expansion pack and you want to cook together with other Sims, maybe you could get rid of this tall cabinet and use a counter instead. We have some space. Here we have a 4-seater table with some decorations, milk carton, some napkins, and a book because, you know, sometimes the kid might be studying in the kitchen. That's definitely what I did when I was younger. Over here, we have the parents' bedroom. I love this wallpaper. This is one of my favorites. There's actually another variation of this one with the white paneling being higher, which is actually my #1 favorite wallpaper of all time. I used to use it all the time, but you know, that kind of became a problem, so I stopped. And over here we have a little desk with a computer and some books. I think that your Sims should be able to grab some books from here because this item functions as a bookcase as well. Here we have a dresser and a painting on top with some clothes on the dresser. And this is the ensuite bathroom. This is where we have the bathtub, so you can bathe your infant or your toddler here. I think you give infants baths, right? I'm not really sure. And finally, we have the kids' bedroom. I really, really like this one. I love the yellow with the blue, and I like how the curtains match the vibe of the room completely. So here we have the bunk bed with the desk below, and there are some decorations, and we have this night light, I suppose. It was a bit small. Normally it's a bit small, but I sized it up. And we have some other decorations here and there. We also have a small TV. Yeah, and it actually functions as a TV, so I think that's pretty nice and fun. And coincidentally enough, we have the armchair, so maybe the child can sit here and watch TV, so that's pretty convenient. We have the change table over here with some knickknacks. Here we have it's not a bassinet, what is it? The crib, I think. Yeah, I think it's called a crib with this light on top. We also have a little dollhouse, 2 Blarfies, and the toy box in the kids' bedroom as well. And then we have a door. We have a door both in the living room and in the kids' bedroom that leads to the backyard. It's nothing special. It didn't have a lot of space here, but we have a grill and a 4-seater table so they can cook some meals and eat them outside when the weather is nice, if you have seasons. If you don't have seasons, the weather is gonna be nice all year round. So this build actually comes at around 51,000 simoleons, so it is pretty expensive, but it's not as expensive as I thought it was. And I put this one actually on the lot called Oak Alcove? I'm not really sure, but let's name it something else. Let's name it a cozy base game house. Cozy base game house, yes, why not? So this is gonna be it for today's video. If you like this one, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below telling me whether you liked or didn't like this build. If you have any other suggestions for future builds, I would be more than happy to hear them. And as I mentioned, if you want your Sims to be included in the save file, you can use the hashtag I've included in the description whenever you upload your Sims to the gallery. As always, you can find my builds through my EA gallery at Cozy with Nico, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!